Welcome back. This is the Cameras, Cars, Coffee podcast. I'm your host, Alex.
I'm Trevor Lovato.
Today we'll be talking about wedding photography and videography and how we both got into it. The mics that we were using, the battery died on the recorder, so therefore the card got corrupted and failed. So it is a really good conversation, but until the end, there is very poor audio. Enjoy. Anyway, today
on the podcast.
Yeah, today on the podcast, we'll be talking about wedding photo and filmmaking, and we're going to mainly be focusing on you and then kind of me, but start off, where did you start with photography in the first place?
I believed it, the first thing was weddings, but I started off actually shooting more portraits.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend that was pretty, and I still do, I love her, and so I had a camera. And so I naturally just took photos of her.
Yeah.
And so, that evolved into all of my, older friends getting married, and then it just kind of went from there. And then I started picking up some weddings and working with local vendors, and
Yeah. So what brought your attention to portrait and wedding photography?
Gosh, dude. Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know, it was a weird time in my life where, I was struggling with a lot of stuff, and, I was growing in my faith a lot at the same time, and, I just feel like maybe because, I had a camera and I just played around with it. It was, an old Nikon. You remember that camera?
Yeah.
I just took photos of, all of my friends, and I was, senior portraits and stuff, and all my friends were getting senior portraits. So, I think the reason why I chose it is because, portraits was kind of, an easy in to take photos of people, and, practice and stuff, because I knew I was going to shoot weddings from the beginning. It's just something that was, I had been thinking about a long time, because I was how can I make money with photography? And it was, weddings. I just thought about all the advantages and all the disadvantages, how much money I could make, and I was that seems like something I would love. So, I practiced shooting people, and then did some senior portraits here and there, and then practicing posing people and what looks good on a human face and focal lengths and that helped me in my wedding photography stuff. So it just kind of all worked out really seamlessly, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So you got into wedding photography, and at first you liked it, or were you just kind of at first you're this is what I'm trying, and did it catch your attention and then you liked it, or were you starting to do it and you're I don't want to do this?
So this has taken me an extremely long time, basically all year to figure this out. But when I first started, I loved it. I thought I was gonna love it, and I did a couple weddings, and I loved it. And then as the year went on, I started picking up all these opportunities, because at the time I did not know how to say no. I didn't know how to say no to anything.
It's a good skill to have.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say no to anything. So all these opportunities were just, oh, hey Trevor, you want to help with this, help with that, do this, do that. So I ended up working 3 jobs. I was doing shift agency, which is awesome. I love those guys, but I needed to focus on one thing. But at the time, I was doing that, which was super fun. I learned so much. I also was working at a church, and I still am. That's my main source of income while I'm doing weddings. Actually, weddings has supplied me most of the year, which is a good thing. So I was doing shift agency with some friends, which was awesome. And then I was working at Metro Community Church, and then I was also doing weddings. At the time, I think I also still had my job at Bella Milano. Yeah, I did. So I was doing 4 things, so I was doing all that. It really sucked, and I had no time. But I didn't know how to say no to anything, I didn't know how to quit anything, I was scared to quit stuff. So, the weddings, since I didn't have a lot, of actual work going into the weddings at that point, because I was focused on so many other things that required more time.
Yeah.
Weddings was only a weekend thing at that point, because I'd already booked them and stuff. And I stopped marketing, which was poor choice of me. But anyway, they became a nuisance, because they were on the weekends, which is the only time I had free time for my other jobs. Mm-hmm. So I was oh, I have a wedding, dang. Which really, I should not have been looking at it that way, because it was making me the most money, and I had the most free time if I was choosing just that one. But all the other things kind of corrupted my viewpoint of weddings.
Yep.
And that's why I kind of hated weddings then, but it kind of switched.
My next point that you kind of talked about was, so you started out doing weddings and you started getting more, and then when did you get the job at the church and shift, and like when did they reach out to you, and like
Okay.
who reached out?
So when I first got my camera, the first thing I started taking photos of was, well, obviously people and stuff, but the first like, well, obviously I went to Metro, right? I went to Metro Community Church, and as a volunteer, I was working at the coffee shop, which was fun. But I got a camera and I was like, hey, I would love to take photos here. Like your guys' photos probably use some help. So so I just involved myself so heavily. Like every weekend I was there. I was shooting all kinds of stuff, doing it for Crave or college ministry, and I guess they just saw all the work that I was putting in, and so when COVID happened, right when COVID started to get better, so like spring of 2020,
Yep.
I started going on shoots with the guy who was in my position at the time, so Caleb Thorpe. I don't know if you want to include that, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I was working with the guy's name was Caleb. I love Caleb, he's so cool. But we started working together, and he was moving to LA, so the whole goal was for me to slowly transition into his role as he was slowly transitioning out. But the same time I started actually working and getting paid for Metro during that spring COVID time, is the exact same time that Cameron, my boss from Shift, started Shift. And so Caleb was also a part of that. And since I'm hanging out with Caleb, and Cameron was hanging out with Caleb, I was naturally just there whenever they were all hanging out. So they were like, hey, you want to be a part of this? You take awesome photos. And I was like, heck yeah, that sounds fun. And I was like fanboying because I looked up both those guys. So of course I said yes. It's probably why I said yes and didn't think about it. I just instantly was like, yes.
I mean, I would have too.
It was a cool opportunity. I was like, oh hell yeah, it was fun. But I shouldn't have. Well, actually,
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot. I'm actually glad I did that. Like, now that I look back, dude, like, the reason, like, this whole entire season, this whole year, really was just, like, God just wanted me to learn. That's literally it. And that's why when I was like, God, I don't want to do this anymore, like, hey, throughout the whole year, like, tell me something else to do, I'm pretty sick of this. I think I didn't get an answer from him, like, ever, because he wanted me to just learn. It wasn't about me moving on.
Right.
Like, he wanted me to stay there. But now I get that. We're just growing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just ready for this point in my life to, like, take everything I learned and simmer down, like, slow down on the actual work.
Yeah.
And, like, focus it, and then so I can also focus on more just, like, loving people. Like, I'm
Mhm.
sick of not doing that.
Right. My next point was like, why did you stop weddings? We kind of like got to that, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It just came at low priority, that's
Yeah.
all.
So now, like, what inspired you to now have a passion to try wedding filmmaking?
Bro, it's totally a God moment. Like, it totally was. So I did photography in the beginning. That's what I wanted to do. Video was cool, I admired it, but I never thought I was ever gonna do it, like, ever. And then Caleb, so when I started working for Metro, the job wasn't photography. It was in-house, like, social, like, comms videographer, right? And I didn't know the actual job title. I just thought I was helping Caleb. And then he slowly would be like, oh, so here's kind of what you're actually going to be doing. This is what the job actually looks like. I'm like, oh, it's all video. So even though it's not what I wanted to go into, I took it because I was like, this is way better than Bella Milano. So, I was bussing at a restaurant, if you don't know what Bella Milano is, for the people watching. But anyway, I took the job, and I just was starting to learn all this video stuff, and I just was like, wow, this is really cool. It's not necessarily, I was shooting a lot of just talking heads, goofy little challenges.
Mhm.
Wasn't what I wanted to be filming if I had the choice. I didn't really get to shoot a lot of cinematic stuff at all. Maybe like one thing,
Yep.
which it was an outdoor music video, which was dope. But I learned so much video in that time. It was crazy. And then on the other side of that, while I wasn't working with Metro, I was just working for essentially a marketing creative agency, which those guys were years ahead of me, like in my, just like the creative world, so they know a lot more than me. I learned so much from those guys about how to run a business, how to market a business, how to run Facebook ads, like all the really technical stuff, but also like the super like business minded side of it too. Like I thought I knew, but now that I'm actually working in it and how it works creatively, like with photography and videos, like I learned so much, dude, and I'm so grateful for that. And but anyway, I'm like I don't know if I want to do any of these specifically for the rest of my life. Like I would try to be like, oh, this could be cool, this could be fun, this could, like I could do it. Um, so that's why I always kept praying, like, God, I do just want to just like be happy, but I don't find that in any of these jobs, and I also want to please you. Like I want you to like I'll if you say go, I'll run. Like just tell me where. But he wanted me to stay, and that's why I never got an answer because I didn't know how much I learned in all of that like during that time until I shot the last wedding of the year. It was on New Year's.
The last day.
Huh?
Literally the last day.
Literally, it was New Year's Eve, so that sucked. Okay, first of all, this is the first one I booked my whole entire career for photography when I was starting getting it. So I did it for $200. It wasn't even a photography gig, it was video, it was a highlight film. I was just so desperate to get into it. I didn't know how long it was going to take, so I booked it like a year in advance. So it is what it is. So it was a 14-hour day. I got paid $200. It was video. It just sucked. I should have been really pissed off, and I was going into it. But as the day went on, like, I was like, why is this so enjoyable? I was like, why? Like, and I literally just prayed about it, and I was like, holy crap. I went away with that day, and I was like, that should have been the most waste of time feeling ever. Like, no money, no more time, not even photos. But I got the complete opposite in everything. I was like, I want to do that like all the time. And I started praying about it, and I was like, God, I don't want this to just be Trevor, like thinking like, oh man, let's just jump to conclusions and dive right into it. So I sat on and I just prayed about it for like 2 weeks. And I go to shoot this video of this girl who's been working on staff at Metro. She was like leaving Metro, she was quitting, and so I filmed the video, and it was real emotional. And then she's in her office, and I'm walking back to my office, and I just all of a sudden get this really urge to like, I feel like I was putting it on my heart, like, hey, go say something to Jody, and I like out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to say, but I'm gonna go do it. And I said, hey, thank you for everything you've done. And I sit down, and she goes, thank you, Trevor. And then she just starts ranting to me, and it turns into all the things she just reaffirmed everything I've been praying about. And it was like such a crazy moment. It was like, she literally said like, I didn't even bring up weddings, and she goes, don't underestimate what God can do with you through weddings. And I was just like,
that's crazy.
What? I walked away from that, I was like, oh, so this was real. It wasn't just like a Trevor, like, so, and also like thinking about logistically, like weddings works with my life so well. Like I love shooting people. Like I'm very comfortable around like, I don't know. I just really like hyping up couples. When I do, it's just so fun. It is fun.
When I would do the wedding with you, like, big thing is like I was just helping for like a second shooter. I wasn't like editing anything besides the videos. But it was just like because I'm not very good with people, but I've definitely like grown in that a lot in the last year.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of that. And like
that's good, dude.
Even the little directing that I've had with the couples, and just like it's just like always a good time. Like I'm always like vibing with it. Dude, it's always just fun.
It's so fun, man. I really do love it, and it's like a lot of the times. Also, I think the reason Jody said like don't underestimate what God can do with you through weddings is like when a bride. What I found out most of the time is like if a bride doesn't have a wedding planner, like the photographer
becomes the wedding planner. It's crazy.
100%. And you can like in that moment when she comes to you for a question, like you can either like completely be super spontaneous and like know if you know what you're doing and you know like the plan for the day, you can be like, hey, this would work out. Like you can come to her in that moment and give her peace and like, or you can just do the opposite and ruin it. So it's like you do have a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, of course.
But dude, it's just so rewarding. And like I feel like video also photography. The reason why I didn't like photography is it was like it's been a thing for. Photography's been a thing for weddings for like so many years.
Yeah.
It's just like they have a list of things they need for the wedding when they're buying stuff and budgeting, and they just Like I just feel like one of the things they check
Every
off
wedding
the list.
has a photographer. Like,
Not a videographer though.
Yeah, because that's like a specialty. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get a video going.
Yeah. So and it's more expensive. So if they're gonna book you for that, dude, they're gonna actually like care about you. It's not just something they're checking off the list.
Exactly.
You'll feel special and they'll feel special. Just good vibes.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, so for me in the background of filmmaking, I would say I have a decent background in filmmaking. So like, you know, like when I was a kid, for the viewers watching, my dad's been into photography and filmmaking since he was 8 years old, and I would be dragged on like 12-hour shoot days, and I was in 8th grade. Every single weekend of the summer, I went to a set as like a 14-year-old kid, just bored out of my mind, and I hated it. I went to so many sets, and all these kids were like I'd post on Snapchat like, oh, I love the shit, and they're like, oh, they'd swipe up, like, yo, that's so cool, you're on a film set. I'm like, it's not that glamorous. I am so bored, and I wish I would have like liked it back then, because like going back and like in my mind right now, like all those things, and
Yeah,
it's just so cool. But I just hated cameras my entire life, because my dad was just into it, and that's all he would watch, and that's all he bought me a camera when I was a kid, and I was like, thanks, Dad.
But now look, we have all this gear.
That's one thing. Like, I would always get mad at my dad for buying more gear. It's like, you don't need that. You don't need that. Why are you buying this? Why are you buying this? And now I use it every single week. All those things I told him he shouldn't have bought, I use them every single week.
Isn't that super like ironic?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. And here we are, and especially the weddings. Like, so there's so many stories of. So my dad, he would shoot weddings all the time. Like every single weekend, he'd be on a new wedding. And there's a YouTuber that used to shoot weddings, and now he does like a lot completely opposite of it. He does YouTube videos on like hikes, but it's not like cinematic B-roll and stuff, and like he's not talking. It's just
vlog stuff, kind of thing.
It's like he doesn't talk. It's dead silent, pretty much. Besides just the nature, and he just walks and he sets up a camera on a tripod, and it gets so many millions of views. It is so popular, and it's like calming. It's almost like an ASMR, but not. It's
I feel like I've seen it, dog. I'm not even joking. I feel like I've watched that.
And there's a few people that do it. But he said basically, because he was making really good money doing wedding photography, and he's like, after so long, he's just like, he got burnt out on it, and then he found his passion doing hiking.
That's the cool thing about creative stuff, is there's so many avenues you can do.
And now with like, especially like social media being a very like important thing nowadays in businesses and everything, like the demand is at an all-time high. But for me in weddings, like I never like because of like the passive hearing people like getting burnt out on it, and especially me not like liking or not being a people person, I never thought this would be any bit of a thing. And I think honestly, if you wouldn't have done any of this, like I definitely, honestly, I wouldn't have gotten into photography or videography without you. Even though like I enjoy the heck out of it now, this is definitely something I want to do. I just never would have found that. It's weird that I like this, and who knows what I'm gonna eventually like be 100% into. But because it definitely like for my whole thing of like meeting you and stuff, it almost feels like I'm following you around in regards of like things you like, and it's like, but I'm basically just trying things like, okay, he's doing this, I want to try it to see if I like it. Yeah. And I don't think that's a single problem.
No. I'm glad that it's that way, because it's like I want us to grow and like actually benefit from each other, but I also don't want that to mean like we like have to stay like completely doing the exact same things.
Right.
Like, if you feel something that you want to do, like, and there's no need for me to partner. Like, bro, freaking do it. Like I'm your friend. I'm not just like a business partner. You know? Like I want us both to succeed and be happy. So, dude, it's cool. I'm glad we have this.
Yeah. Like when you said wedding videography, it was like cool for you, and then I bought Full-Time Filmmaker and I got a wedding video pro. I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So like I'm definitely excited to start doing it and trying, because I can, as of right now, it seems like I'm gonna enjoy this.
Good, dude.
So that's like kind of like the whole thing. I'm surprised that I got into photography. Going back to that, like I don't know if I was saying this and I got off a tangent, but as you know, like I started doing video because I was doing the vlogs, and then I was like getting into video, and I was doing cinematic and B-roll, and now I look back and it's like, why was that shot so long? Why did you cut it right there?
Yeah.
But
That's growing.
jeez, I was so rough on myself. It's crazy.
Dude, you were. I was like,
Bro, and
I feel bad.
People at work now realize the difference. Like, so when I started upstairs as a cook, when I moved upstairs, like I would just poop on myself so hard. Like my boss would be like, "You're good, dude. Don't talk so much bad of yourself." And
Wow.
all my coworkers were like, "Yeah, I remember when you're just like, man, you're like, yeah, I fucking suck, guys. It's okay. It's all my fault." And like, they definitely see the difference in me now. It's like completely different. And then like, I remember when you got the job at Metro as a videographer mainly, and you're like, if I got this, you can do it. I'm just like, okay.
Bro, that's so true. Like, I didn't know anything genuinely about video. Like, looking back, I knew how to put some clips together and kind of make a decent video.
Yeah.
But, like, even the progress in the last, what, like a quarter of a year, not even, half a year.
Half a year, I would say. Because you started like, yeah, I would say half a year.
About half a year. Bro, like, you know so much more than me. Like,
I don't know about that. The only reason I'm saying this right now. Okay, the only reason I'm saying this is this guy is full-time job, but his job right now is a videographer. The only video I do is YouTube videos, so.
he's been doing it way longer than me. He knows. He's got more experience than me. Diploma?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Hold up, I was thinking of something. Oh yeah. I feel like one thing that one of the big reasons why I've just kind of been maybe like my progress has been kind of fast paced.
Yeah, you really learn fast, I think. I don't know if that's just me.
I'm a fast learner when it's something that I actually want to learn.
Yeah.
Like, even when I just started getting into cars, like, I would literally just, like, I just feed myself with information because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I just remembered it. Like, for no reason. I could remember, like, the weight of a car, the exact year, and
oh my gosh.
horsepower.
When I was a kid, and I was, like, infatuated with, like, I would have so many cars in my head, and at the time, that was when I was a kid, I was looking at like new cars that I'd buy. This is before I got into drifting, like stuff like that. And my mom, she'd have a conversation with like her coworker, and she literally, I remember her texting me one day like, "What gas mileage does this car get?" And I was like, 24 miles a gallon in the city and 20 in the highway.
Dude, I feel like it's like that. I used to be just like that too, but I feel like it's like that now with like video because
yeah.
I love it so much. I'm so driven now,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like that for me with photography. But one thing that I learned when I was doing that CEO class, which is just like for those of you who don't know, it's just a really cool business class that's doesn't have any homework.
I was scared to take it, and you're like, take it, and I was like, no, regrets.
Literally,
don't be scared, guys.
Literally,
it's got me nowhere.
The whole point of the class is literally just build an actual business with real money, with real people. And like as a senior in high school, I was literally like forced to create a business plan, go to bankers, propose my business plan to a banker, actually come up with like all this stuff.
Fantastic.
It was crazy. It was really cool. I had to like speak in front of a whole bunch of people, but I was terrified. But like it pushed me.
Yeah.
And the big thing I learned in it was like you can have all these great ideas and be good at all these things, but if you don't actually like okay, yeah, these are great ideas, but if you can't actually figure out steps to get there and how to do there, and if you don't even like step at all in the first place, like there's no point. So I feel like a big part of my photography and just my recent like progress, I won't even say success, but just like progress has been because like I just
that's the one thing I get mad jealous about is like I'm really bad about like doing stuff and like trying or not trying, I don't know what even the word is for it, but you're really good at like acting on things and learning about it, and I'm like a really shit learner. Like I'm slow, and
I disagree with you. I think you're a
very
really,
difficult.
I think you're a really good learner. I feel like sometimes you just don't jump out on the snapping part.
I'm a big wuss. I'm scared of everything.
Bro, like we talked about a long time ago. I was encouraging you to do like the video for Peel.
P.S. I still haven't done it.
But yeah,
But now I'm getting some more confidence. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
bro, and it's like it goes back to that thing. Is like at the time you thought your videos were like fire, and I still think they're like not that
I
bad.
did not think they were fire.
Well, here's the thing, like, we know a lot about this now, like, because we've just been, like, studying the crap out of it, so we look back on it, we're like, oh, we can see all the little imperfections,
Yeah.
but at the time, I didn't know a ton of, well, I knew more about video than the average person, aka,
Yeah.
like, your boss or something, right,
Yeah.
at Peel. I looked at that, and I was like, oh, this is pretty freaking fire. If you would show it to your boss, and knowing less about film than me, he would have been like, oh, this is cool, I can see this for my product, and if you can, like, make,
Yeah.
oh, bro.
You gotta. What I've learned, especially through the course and just in general, fake it till you make it. Like, just be confident, and that's the one thing that I struggle with, like confidence. Like, so remember that one video? It was my waking up at 5 a.m. video, but I went to Peel and filmed like a little thing. It is so bad. Like,
5 a.m. video?
yeah.
Really?
So like no, the 5 a.m. video is like not bad. It's just the Peel like B-roll thing, because okay, so this is.
I thought it was great.
I know. All my
Thought it was
coworkers were
great.
like, yo, and they're like, yo, where's my thing on your channel? Like, what was it called? Anyway, and this is like when I got that camera, I really had no idea like settings. When I got my GH5, like I had no idea of video. So like shutter speed, aperture, ISO, what's that? So I was at auto ISO, and like Panasonic cameras like variable frame rates. So I was at 96 frames per second. My shutter speed, who knows what it was at, but it didn't look bad. But the amount of noise in the shot, because I didn't know my settings, it was just so poor. And I actually just recently watched that section, and I'm just.
This is such a comfy blanket, though.
There it is.
Whatever, I don't remember what we ended on, but we're gonna go to the yeah. Okay. So the last point is, so what are your next steps and goals into the filmmaking path for weddings? I know you just spent $3,500 on lenses, memory, lights, audio equipment,
Stuff that you don't-
but as a filmmaker, like that's definitely stuff you need.
yeah, I'm excited because I have now.
Yeah. I love filmmaking stuff. The one thing that if you get into like big productions, like weddings is kind of a separate thing, but if you get like big productions where you need like a bunch of C-stands, that's not fun. C-stands are $150 each. So disregarding that, what are your kind of like next goals? Because you have a lot of gear now, like what's your next steps?
Pass the mic, brother. Well, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna have it that far away. It's probably good. You think it's good?
Yeah.
All right. So my next steps are probably, well, it's obviously to get into the wedding industry, right? So I have a styled shoot coming up. Hopefully, I'm working with some wedding planners. Hopefully that can get us some good video portfolio stuff.
I'm hoping we'll try our best.
It should. It's obviously, well, the thing about it is we're not going to be able to show, like, that's the thing about styled shoots is, like, they're awesome because you can show the exact type of style that you want to shoot.
Yeah.
And so those clients will look at that and be like, oh, I want that.
Right.
The problem is it's not a real wedding. And if it's your only portfolio work, it's kind of hard just because if you it's sometimes it doesn't look real. Like,
Yeah.
there's no people there. There's not a officiator.
Yeah. So that's like
It's all just styled. It's all just, it looks kind of,
yeah.
But I think we'll be able to get some, like, because it's videos, not photos. I think we'll be able to make it look pretty freaking good. Even if we shoot it like an engagement session, we'll make it look good. Anyway, so we're doing that. Good portfolio work. Also, working with wedding planners is really dope because if you get a good relationship with them, which I already have, when they actually start to get clients, and I'll be like, hey, if you could,
Yeah, of course.
they'll definitely give us like
Yeah.
some work. So that's another thing. So that's my goal, is to really work with them this year, get some portfolio work done, and then just put content out there, and I want to rebrand like all my stuff. So like my website's for photos only, and it's not even that great.
I needed to start I had my whole website pretty much like there, and I didn't like delete it. It's still there on Squarespace. But it's all for like automotive photography, and then I just stopped because I had like free 7 days, and then
The trial thing, yeah.
but I mean I can still edit it. It's just not like a thing, right? I don't know how that
I
works.
don't know how you either. I bought mine, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's like the one, to be honest.
But it's fine. I'm gonna probably not push that as much. The website portion of the automotive photography.
Oh yeah, Instagram.
Just because like every purchase or anybody's bought photos from me has been through Facebook Messenger or maybe like 2 or 3 through Instagram. And then like, yeah, so.
I want to have a website, especially for wedding stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely have a website for wedding stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like, because it's not what I'm necessarily probably going into. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spend the time making a whole website for something that I'm not really like aiming towards.
I wish that all my clients could come from just Instagram. That would be so cool because I could update it so easily. It'd be really nice.
Yeah.
But right now, website is still king for that kind of stuff. Just in the wedding industry specifically. Oh, I wish.
Facebook, Instagram, and website all together really is the best soup.
Yeah. Facebook ads push right to you. Yeah, it's the best way. But yeah, that's my goal. I just want to finally like make some money, have a good foot in the door next year. This year is another building year for video. Kind of annoying. I wish I would have been making like money doing photos now, which I could have, but I'm glad it's video. Yeah. And I have another year to build. So this year is going to be kind of just like a growth year.
I'm excited. I think like this year is definitely going to be. This is weird. I don't like this. Next time we're gonna have those charged. So like my plans for the next year. So one of my biggest goals is to quit Peel. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen or not, but I think that if I like keep that mindset that it's gonna happen and I keep pushing, and I think like after getting this course, like I said, like it's really like I'm feeling it. So that's good. That's the whole confidence thing. Confidence boosted, leveled up. This was the Cameras, Cars, and Coffee podcast. My name's Alex.
I'm sad it's over. I'm glad it's happened. And I'm Trevor.
Catch us. If you're interested in wedding filmmaking and the business side, especially as 20-year-olds, stay tuned to this podcast. Goodbye, guys.